Well, I'm going to be on the floor of the Senate in a bit. And Chris, you stole my speech. That's exactly the point I'm going to be making. The hypocrisy is extraordinary. When we want to improve lives for our children, for the elderly, when we want to make health care universal and affordable, when we want to deal with climate, oh my God, Bernie, don't you understand we have a terrible national debt in the deficit? But when it comes to military spending, really, the military-industrial complex, in a bipartisan way, always gets what they want. And what we're talking about now is a budget that is $35 billion more than President Trump's budget, $25 billion more than what President Biden requested.
Bernie Sanders is 100% correct right here. But I would add one more detail, and that is the fact that the United States military is one of the largest polluters on the entire planet Earth. So what Bernie Sanders accurately pointed out, the idea that we have infinite money for the military, but just can't manage to spend money on mitigating climate change. What we are really saying is that we are committed to causing climate change, because if we're not putting money to greenify our economy, while we are putting money into the largest polluter in the world, the largest single institutional polluter in the world, then what we are doing is we are committing as a country to causing climate change and to accelerating the destruction of our planet.
Senator, look, I've been covering politics in Washington for 15 years, thereabouts, and it has always been the case. There's money for domestic programs, which is real money that has to be accounted for, where you got to get a SKIBO score, it's got to be paid for as deficit. And then there's money for defense, particularly for war funding. It just doesn't count. It's just in a different category, existentially, just however much, trillions here, trillion there.
And this right here is an incredibly important point. You see, they always scream about the budget, these Republicans, whenever they're talking about spending, for example, on healthcare or spending on education or forgiving student loans. All of these things are apparently just something that we should all just give up on ever achieving because they're just too pricey. But when it comes to rolling out things like the F-35, which is a miserable failure, or brand new aircraft carriers that don't work, then all of a sudden we can just give infinite amounts of money to Boeing and Raytheon to develop military technology. All at a time when theoretically the United States is at peace. I mean, obviously the United States is still intervening in the affairs of countries around the world. It's just not broadcast as a war. They're just individual conflicts, skirmishes, or areas of interest for foreign policy. But it's not all-out war because... what exactly? I don't know. I mean, we have military bases all over Africa, the Middle East, and basically everywhere else in the world. And there are operations that are still happening all over the place. So I don't know to what degree we can say the United States is really at peace, but theoretically we are, at least according to the centrist Democrats that want to brag about Joe Biden getting out of Afghanistan, which is one of the few good things Joe Biden managed to do with his presidency so far. But even though it's theoretically a time of peace, the Democrats can't help themselves but cheer for military budget increases. Joe Biden could have promised to veto the military budget if he really wanted to pass Build Back Better. He could have held that over Republicans' head and said, hey, no, we're not going to get a military budget until we get Build Back Better. But no, Chuck Schumer could have done the same thing, but he didn't either. It just always seems to be that with the Republicans and the centrist Democrats, the military can never get enough money. This is Ben Carollo with Rebel Headquarters. You can catch my show Galaxy Brain on the Young Turks Twitch channel every Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. You can follow me on Twitter if you want to stay up to date with my content.